Hey, what's up everyone? GameDad here, and today I am really excited because I'm coming at you guys with a brand new controller kind of like comparison review video. Now, huge thank you to my pals over at KMD and Retrobit because they sent over some awesome controllers for me to check out, which I have right here. These are the KMD Wireless Pro Controller and the Wired Pro Controller. Now, with these, I thought, it wouldn't be fair to only check out these. I want to see how these stack up against other controllers. So, we also have the Power A, officially licensed wired controller for the Switch. We also have something from my buddy Gary over at Rock Solid Productions. He sent this over for me, and this is the Rival Lab Gaming Contender Wireless Controller. And I believe this can be wired as well. We'll find out. And then, of course, we have the standard Nintendo Switch Pro Controller Wireless. So we are going to check all of these out today, and we are also going to check out, what kind of functionality do they have? How easy is it to pair them? Do they have Amiibo support? What type of connector do they have? Is it, USB Type-C? Is it micro USB, mini USB? What is it? So we are going to see how these work. We're going to compare the lag. And, I don't have any kind of fancy tools to do this. It's just going to be me eyeballing it. But I will let all of you know how it feels as I'm playing these games to see if it's something, maybe you'll be interested in later on. Now, like I said, KMD sent over these controllers for me to check out, but this video is in no way sponsored. They just sent over the controllers for me to take a look at, so all thoughts and opinions are my own, but still a huge thank you to KMD for sending these over for me to check out. Now, before we dive in and start checking out these controllers, if you are new to the channel or you just haven't yet, please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so that you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. And also, I don't really bring it up much, but I am on social media as well, at GameDad Show, across all platforms. So feel free to give a like and follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever your preference is. All right, now let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so first up, I thought I would give everyone a little bit of an unboxing. So first one we have here, super simple because I've had it almost since day one, Nintendo Switch Pro Controller, and there, it's unboxed. Now, let's move on to something that actually needs to be unboxed. So first up, we have the KMD Wireless Pro Controller, and ooh, it's with turbo. So we're gonna see what is inside this box. We've got some paperwork, and what else do we got here? We've got some plastic, nice empty box, and we got a cable in here. So let's take a look and see what kind of connection this one has. Right off the bat, it has Type-C. I am a fan of that. I prefer Type-C for all of my controller and accessory needs. And let's see, how long is the cable with this one? If I had to guess, I would say it's about a 3-foot cable, which isn't super great, but it's just for charging, so that's not bad. Yeah, that's about a 3-foot cable. So there is that, and let's see initial thoughts with the feel of it. Now, it does feel pretty darn good, actually, in the hand. I will say it feels very, very light in the hands. So, someone like me, I kind of prefer the weight in a controller. So, like, the Switch Pro controller is, honestly, in my opinion, one of the gold standards for any kind of controller. It fits so well. It's got a decent weight, but it doesn't cause hand fatigue or anything like that. It's just really nice. So, this is also, Nintendo's controller. It's the first-party controller for the system. So, obviously, I'm going to be comparing a lot to this. This has all of the functionality I would be looking for. It's got the Type-C, it's got the Amiibo support, it's wireless, it can be played wired, all of that. So, it does everything you need it to do. Now, this one, it feels good. It's definitely thinner in the back right here. My fingers aren't protruding as much because the plastic's not there. I do like the grip around the wheels. That's kind of nice. It's got a pretty good, decent feeling D-pad there. The buttons, very nice buttons. I like that. The triggers are pretty good. They feel very similar to the Pro controller, but I would say that I like the bumpers on this KMD controller more. Yeah, this is nice. I like this. I would prefer a little bit more weight to it, but first impressions, ooh, that's a loud click. First impressions, I like this one. Not bad. So we'll put this one aside, And let's unbox another one. Now we have the KMD Wired Pro controller with turbo. So we're going to go ahead and get this one open. Now, right off the bat with this one, I'll say that the packaging on this feels so much better. I mean, the Wireless Pro, it's just some plastic. I mean, it's not terrible or anything. It looks nice, it's cool, you can see it. But compared to the wired version of their own controller, this feels vastly superior. So let's go ahead and get this open. They definitely have some strong tape on it. Alright, let's go ahead and open this. Alright, it's got the same kind of plastic insert, but the outer shell is significantly nicer. Alright, so we'll get rid of that box. Bust out this controller. Again, you get a little instruction manual with it. Little piece of inner plastic, that's all the same. Now, it looks like, I mean, yeah, they took the exact same controller design. I don't see anything different about this other than, of course, it is an attached wire. And it looks like, from what I can tell on the inside, all that they did was, instead of a battery going in here with a Type-C port, they just wired it directly in with a wire. So, not bad. I mean, it feels like the same controller. Nice and clicky. Alright, and moving on to an officially licensed controller. Now, this is the Power A controller, and it automatically, like, the packaging feels very nice on it, and it feels super high quality. It's exactly what you would expect from a licensed Nintendo product. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this one opened up. First thing, ooh, that feels like a nice high quality cable. They give you a tie for it, and it is not Type-C. It's micro USB. I don't know why anyone uses this anymore. I am not a fan of micro USB. These connectors break all the time. So that already, in my opinion, is a point against this, regardless of how nice this cable feels. I think it said it's a 3-meter cable, so what is that, like 6 feet? So, I mean, at least you get a bigger cable. That's kind of nice. Alright, then we open this up the rest of the way. And it just slides out of the packaging and gives you some documentation. So we will be checking out all the documentation later, so I don't look like a fool on camera and know what I'm talking about. Alright, now this one, good lord. You see the size of these thumbsticks? They're huge. And they're not even like just a big pad. They have like, wow, these are just large thumbsticks. I mean, they don't feel bad by any means. I mean, I have really large hands, so putting a thumb on there, it's not bad at all, actually. The buttons feel okay. I don't care for the D-pad. It's got some pretty, like, they're like long, skinny tines coming off of it. I kind of like them a little chunkier. And the switches on them, I mean, they feel okay. It definitely feels third-party, though. Let's see, the controllers. The bumpers up here are fine. The triggers, those feel kind of mushy to me. I don't really care for that. In typical Power A fashion, they have recessed their connector, meaning for the most part, you have to use their connector. It's even got a slotted groove to match the cable. As far as the feel in the palm, it's pretty nice. I really like how this is rounded right here. It makes it really easy to grip onto. It is rather flat, though, and I could see this part right here getting really annoying after a long gameplay session, because as it stands right now, the controller is resting on that part when I hold it. It's resting right on my fingers. I don't really care for that. That's my personal preference, but, you know, this is my personal video, so I'm going to give those opinions. Yeah, I mean, initial feel, so far, I like this one the least. I like the Pro controller the most, but the KMD controllers I like better than this. And last up, we have the Contender. Now, let's see if it actually is a Contender or not. I'm going to open this up, and woof, that is cheap packaging. The box is kind of nice, a little flimsy, but rather cheap. The instruction manual is full color. Well, that's nice. That's a change. So, let's see here. Let's pull that guy out, and look at that, Type-C. However, I just noticed this does not come with a cable. How are you supposed to charge a controller that doesn't come with a cable. They expect you to just buy a separate one. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how much this controller actually is, but that's stupid. Okay, well, let's see the feel. The sticks feel similar. They feel like a cross between the Switch Pro controller and the KMD Wireless Pro. It's not a bad thing. The sticks are a little high off the controller for my taste, but it feels alright. The buttons feel nice. The plus and minus and T and square and everything right here, they feel a little stiff. The D-pad, I like the size of it, but it is a bit mushy for my taste. I could see me having issues with trying to do combos, things like that. The bumpers are nice. Oh, the triggers. Okay, so the triggers, they have a nice bit of play to them. There is no click of any kind. This is just like resistance. There's nothing else happening there. These have a click. These have nothing. That is incredibly unsatisfying. I don't like that. As far as the overall feel, though, fits very nice in the hand. Again, it's kind of a midway between a couple of the other controllers. It's not super skinny and flat, but it's not a big bulbous controller right there, or a handle, but feels pretty nice. It looks like I'm going to have to steal the cable from the KMD one in order to charge it, though. That's unfortunate. Well, here you have them. These are the fully unboxed controllers and what we will be doing some comparisons on today. I already went over my thoughts on how I think they feel, first impressions, that kind of thing, their connections. But so far, right now, we have the Contender. We have the Power A controller, which is officially licensed by Nintendo. We have the first party Switch Pro controller. Then we have the KMD Wireless Pro and the KMD Wired Pro. Now, these are identical controllers with the exception of this one's wireless, this one's USB. So, I mean, I would hope that they have the same functionality. I guess we will find out. And again, I need to go get this one charged because it doesn't come with a cable. That's annoying. So let's dive in. We're going to check out what kind of support these have and play a couple games with each of them and see how they feel. Alright, so here we have the classic. That is the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. As you can see, excellent wireless functionality. There isn't really any kind of discernible lag. I mean, I hit it and it might be a millisecond off, but excellent to play with. Goes around, no issues of any kind. This does have Type-C. It can be played wired or wireless. And it also has the NFC support, so that's really nice. It has Rumble built in, and all around, excellent controller with the Switch Pro controller. Now, moving on, we have the wireless KMD controller. Now this one, again, it has a really good feel to it, and honestly, I think its response time is even better than the Switch Pro controller. And it feels great. I mean, I'm playing the game. There's no issues of any kind. It's got a really good feel in the hands. I really like the way that they designed the handles on this. So, again, excellent controller. All I did was go into the pairing, paired right up. It does have a kind of like 1 or 2 second pause when you're holding the home button to get it to actually connect. But that's really not that bad. Once you're connected, it's just working. It just goes. Anytime I hit those buttons, does exactly what it's supposed to do. So, very nice controller. Really digging this one. Now, next up, we have the officially Nintendo licensed Power A wired controller. Now, I don't know why the cable is detachable because this does not work wireless. And although I do like the large thumbsticks on it, I got big hands, so, you know, it's nice to have a bigger thumbstick on there. But overall, I mean, it has basically the same amount of lag as the other ones did. And, I mean, it's okay, but there's no rumble or anything like that. It is wired, even though you can remove the cable for whatever reason. But, yeah, I mean, it's an okay controller. It's definitely not my favorite so far. Now, next up here, we have the KMD Wired Pro Controller. Now, this one does not have a rumble to it, and the controller does feel a little bit lighter. It's a little heavier at the top end where the cable comes through, but overall, it's the same controller. I mean, I would prefer the wireless functionality and the rumble, because, you know, I like to have rumble in games. And, I mean, they did change a couple of the button layouts for the, like, auto fire and stuff, but overall, it's still a great controller. If you don't mind playing with a wire, I mean, this one is solid. I prefer the wireless one over the wired one, but so far the KMD one is a really nice controller. Alright, and last up we have the wireless contender controller. Now, something that's weird about this one, you can plug it in, it has Type-C, which I really like, but as soon as you plug it in, the controller doesn't work. It only works via wireless connection. So I thought that part was a little bit strange, but I mean, overall, it's got some nice response time. I would say out of all of these, it probably is the worst. There is a noticeable delay. Like I hit the button, it jumps right after. But it's not horrible. The shape is okay. It's very, very flat on top, which I'm not really a fan of. I like bevels around my buttons. But overall, I mean, it's an okay controller. And in a pinch, it would get the job done. But honestly, I really like either the standard Pro controller or the KMD wireless. Those are both phenomenal controllers. So there you have it, everyone. That is going through the overall kind of functionality of each of these Nintendo Switch controllers. Now, they all bring something different to the table, and they all are kind of lacking in something as well. Now, I will say, obviously, the first-party Nintendo Switch Pro controller, I mean, that's the king of the hill for all functionality that it has. However, I will say that I think my personal favorite is the KMD Wireless Pro. The wired one is nice, but I don't like being tied down with a cable. And although this doesn't have NFC, that doesn't affect me in the slightest because I don't use amiibos. It's a comfortable controller. It's light in the hand, but it still has a little bit of girth to it. That way, it's not a bad controller to use. And honestly, I really enjoy using this one. This is a nice controller. Now, I will say that the Contender controller has all the same kind of functionality, but it's just not as comfortable in the hands, in my opinion. And honestly, for the price of the Power A controller, that officially licensed one, in my mind, it's kind of trash. I mean, you don't get any kind of extra stuff to it. Sure, it's got some big thumbsticks, but that's about it. It doesn't really come with anything else. And even though the wire is detachable, it's not wireless. It's only wired. So I don't know why it's detachable. That doesn't make any sense. But overall, it's definitely, for me, between the Pro controller, you know, depending on what's charged at the time, or the wireless Pro controller from KMD. Now, once again, huge thank you to KMD for sending over a couple of controllers for me to check out and allowing me to do a comparison video with a few other controllers. This was definitely a fun process, and for me, I ended up finding a new controller that is probably going to be my daily driver on the Switch. Now, if you liked today's video, please let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, please be sure to also hit those like and subscribe buttons, as well as that little notification bell so that you get an alert every time I got a new video coming out. Also, if you are interested in helping to support the channel and the videos that I make, please be sure to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/GameDadShow. And if that's not really in the cards right now, then maybe check out some merch at tpublic.com/GameDadShow. Now, as always, I'm GameDad. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.